Good morning, my name is Jen and I have been coming to Seagate for several years now with my husband Fraser and our two boys James and Harry. And first of all, I'd just like to say how much we're missing everybody. We're missing seeing everyone's faces and catching up with everyone, and the boys especially are missing all the attention that they get on a Sunday morning. And it's been really encouraging just to see all the different faces between the devotionals and those taking part on the online Sunday services. And hopefully it won't be too much longer before we can all be together again. So this morning I just wanted to share with you some thoughts that I had been having over the course of lockdown. So like most of you, I imagine, I have had good days and bad days. I have had highs and lows, successes and failures. Especially being stuck in the house most of the time, or the garden, with two small boys who have got endless amounts of energy. It has had its challenges. And when I start to think about what leads to a bad day for me, I realise it's when I start to think about plans that we had that we are no longer able to do, things that we were looking forward to as a family, lots of unanswered questions. James was finishing up nursery, going into primary 1, and that looks very different for him now, and he's not had the opportunity to say bye to his teachers and the nursery that he's loved so much over the past couple of years. And I realise that when I think about these things, it makes me feel a bit sad and a bit angry, anxious, low, all of these things. And my attitude then becomes something that it shouldn't be. Start to feel, with feeling all these different things, like the slightest thing can set me off, and it ends up turning into something much bigger than it should be. The smallest argument over a toy or something like that, and everyone starts to feel a bit on edge, and the day can quickly take a turn for the worse. And on the other hand, when I find myself not thinking about any of these things and just focusing on the day, having fun, being present, everyone is in a much better frame of mind, realise that the house is far more peaceful, and all these anxieties seem to drift away. And really this pattern shouldn't come as a surprise. When I'm focusing on the future, things seem to go wrong. We're told in Matthew 6:34, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble." And yet this is easier said than done. Naturally, we like to make plans for the future. We like to have things to look forward to. As some of you may be aware, I work in the travel industry. And every year after Christmas and New Year, people come flooding in to get all their holidays booked for the year ahead. After all the excitement and highs of Christmas, they like to have something to look forward to keep them going and something to focus on. And when we're not able to do this, it can leave us feeling a bit low and a bit depressed. And naturally this has an effect on the day we're in, and the attitudes and actions. And we rob ourselves of the joy which can be found in the present. So I have been thinking about this and about how life seems to have a way of distracting us from the moments that God gives us. One issue can lead to another, and we end up in survival mode, and we just aim to get through the day. A lot of the time we think about things ahead, like when I pass my exams, or when I get married, when I have kids, when I retire. And our joy can be tied up in what the future may bring. However, the thing about the future is that it is completely unknown, and it is never guaranteed. So thinking about this, I just wanted to share with you some thoughts and verses that I had been reading, which have been a real encouragement to me. Starting in Exodus chapter 16, where God provided what the people needed on a daily basis. Each day they could collect and use what was available, and none of it could be kept for the following day. God provided for them in this way for 40 years on a daily basis. Then we read in Psalm 68, verse 19, "Blessed be the Lord, who daily loads us with benefits." If we break that down, we can break it down to daily indicates the benefits come on a day-by-day basis. The benefits, these include His kindness, His goodness, His provision. His benefits know no limits. He could come through for you in a variety of ways. He gave His children manna in the desert and opened up the sea so that they could cross. The Lord knows of paths and ways of doing things that we haven't even thought about, and loads us. When something comes in loads, we know that it doesn't mean the bare essentials. It means all that we need. And turning to Deuteronomy 33, verse 25. "And as your days, so your strength shall be. Not weeks, not months, not years, but days." Even the heaviest of loads can be managed for a day. But tomorrow is unknown and not guaranteed, and there is no strength provided for it. But if tomorrow comes, with it will come the strength from the Lord that we need. And right at the start, in Genesis 1, verse 5, God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. God worked on the principle of day by day. Each aspect of creation was wrapped up in one day. And finally, as we read at the start in Matthew 6, verse 34, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble." We live in a world dominated by fear, anxiety, depression and stress. And all these things relate to the future. God's advice to us is to have nothing to do with the future. Each day has its own requirements, needs, pressures, joys, and griefs. God will always give us the strength we need for the day and everything He places in that day. So this has been a real encouragement for me and a challenge. It's definitely not easy. It's definitely a daily challenge. But I think we can be encouraged by what we read in Lamentations 3, verse 22 to 23. "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." Have a good day.